The rich history of the Western African nation of Ghana is one that is deeply intertwined with the African American and Black diaspora experience. For centuries, Ghana has been a beacon of hope and a symbol of the resilience of the African people. It was the first African colony to gain independence in 1957 after a long and difficult struggle against colonial rule. In recent years, Ghana has gained even more attention as a destination for African Americans and the Black diaspora due to the country's Year of Return campaign. This campaign, launched in 2019, encourages people of African descent to visit Ghana and reconnect with their roots. It has been successful in attracting a significant number of African Americans and Black diaspora to the country, sparking a growth in tourism and cultural exchange. Join us in our video today as we explore together why Ghana has become a hot spot for African Americans and the Black diaspora. Before we go any further with our video, make sure to check out the products of Mzizi International, who are the official sponsor of our video today. Meaning roots in Swahili, Mzizi is the streetwear brand uniting the African diaspora through its sportswear-inspired looks and celebration of culture and heritage. From collaborating with Marvel on a Black Panther jersey to being profiled by the likes of Hypebeast and Vogue, Mzizi has exciting and high-quality products to choose from. Visit Mzizi.com for more information. Buy African, wear African, and stay rooted with Mzizi streetwear. Ghana's Year of Return campaign is a significant initiative that has contributed to the growth of tourism in the country. Launched in 2019, the campaign marks the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first enslaved Africans in the English colonies in North America. It aims to encourage people of African descent to visit Ghana and reconnect with their roots, while also promoting cultural exchange and economic development. The campaign has been successful in attracting a significant number of African Americans and Black diaspora to Ghana, with many individuals drawn to the opportunity to learn more about their history and cultural heritage. The Year of Return campaign has been a platform to shed light on the ongoing struggles and challenges faced by people of African descent around the world. It is an opportunity for African Americans and the Black diaspora to come together and reflect on the difficult history of slavery and its lasting impact, while also celebrating the resilience and strength of the African people. The campaign has received widespread support and has been successful in promoting a greater understanding and appreciation of African culture and history. Overall, Ghana's Year of Return campaign has been a significant initiative that has contributed to the growth of tourism in the country and has brought about a sense of cultural exchange and belonging for many African Americans and members of the Black diaspora. Ghana has seen a significant growth in tourism in recent years, particularly since the launch of the Year of Return campaign. According to the Ghana Tourism Authority, the country welcomed over 1 million tourists in 2019, representing a 25% increase from the previous year. This growth in tourism has had a positive impact on the economy, with the industry contributing significantly to the country's GDP.
And so it's great to be able to come back home so that we all can connect, find citizenship here, find home here, culture here, nationality here, and as I say, being African in America, but still rooted in Africa.
The growth in tourism has also brought about economic and social benefits for local communities. Many small businesses, such as restaurants and hotels, have seen an increase in revenue due to the influx of tourists. Additionally, tourism has created job opportunities for local residents, particularly in the hospitality and service sectors. Overall, the growth in tourism has had a positive impact on the economy and local communities in Ghana.
It was great to be home to Ghana.
We talk about Ghana. I wear Ghanaian clothes, I eat Ghanaian food, I use Ghanaian phrases. So for me, it's not there's no separation, and I'm always Ghanaian.
For many African Americans and members of the Black diaspora, visiting Ghana can be a deeply meaningful and transformative experience. Many individuals report feeling a sense of connection to their roots and cultural heritage upon arriving in the country. This sense of belonging can be attributed to the strong cultural exchange that takes place between visitors and local communities. Testimonials from individuals who have visited Ghana speak to the profound impact of this cultural exchange. Many reports feeling welcomed and embraced by the local people and describe the experience as life-changing. In addition to learning about their own history and cultural heritage, many visitors also report learning about the diverse cultures and traditions of Ghanaian communities.
It's so wonderful to be home and be welcome home and be appreciated and be among my people.
Overall, the cultural exchange and sense of belonging experienced by African Americans and members of the Black diaspora in Ghana can be a deeply enriching and rewarding experience. The nation's people radiate a beautiful ambience filled with deep tradition and an opportunity for sons and daughters of the land to connect with their roots and learn more about their cultural heritage. However, amid the merrymaking and fond recollections, it is essential to acknowledge the dark era of the African slave trade, a brutal era of unthinkable and inhumane practices used on humans, lasting for centuries. Millions of African men, women, and children were captured and sold as slaves for labor to the Americas and Europe. Due to its strategic position on the West African coast and its fortune of natural resources, Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast, played a significant role in this trade. European traders and colonial powers exploited these resources and used Ghana as a major hub for the transatlantic slave trade. It is important to understand the history of the slave trade in Ghana and its impact on the country and its people. Right before its eyes, the country's immense resources, labor, and wealth were exploited for the benefit of European powers. Ghana had become home to a number of forts and castles that served as hubs for the capture and sale of African slaves. These structures were built and maintained by European powers, including the Portuguese, Dutch, British, and Danish, who used them to hold slaves before they were shipped to the Americas and Europe, along with treasures and bounty. Consequently, its impacts wreaked devastating on Ghana's economic fortitude. The most famous of these forts is Cape Coast Castle, which was built by the British in the 17th century and served as a major center for the slave trade. Other notable forts in Ghana include Fort Amsterdam, Fort Santo Antonio, and Fort Patience. During those horrifying and terrible times, countless slaves walked through the infamous Door of No Return at the ancient fort in Cape Coast, never to return to their homeland again. Today, it serves as a final destination for visitors touring Cape Coast Castle. It's interesting to note that the same gate is now used for both entering and leaving, but this time, as tourists enter it, they notice a new sign that reads Door of Return. It demonstrates that those who are the descendants of slaves from Africa are always welcome to come return to the continent, where they can call home. About 12 kilometers away from the Cape Coast Castle is the Elmina Castle, a UNESCO heritage site which represents the oldest European-built structure south of the Sahara, and was also the very first trading post built on the Gulf of Guinea. Renee Blake, a Latina Caribbean-American linguistics professor at New York University who was leading a tour of African-American students to Ghana, believes that the rest of the world needs to understand what African slaves endured centuries ago. Blake emphasized the importance of other people connected to the history of slavery visiting in order to understand our history, make sense of the world we live in, and understand our lives. Most tourists also explore the Asan Manso Slave River Park, which is also located in the central region. It was one of the biggest slave marketplaces, and before being brought to the dungeons and sold, slaves would take their last baths in the river. All the same, it is necessary, most importantly, to recognize the admirable strength and resilience of the Ghanaian people who have persevered and rebuilt the nation to appropriate standards, despite the challenges they have faced. Today, forts and castles that were structural pillars for the transatlantic slave trade have now become pillars securing Ghana's position as a hotspot destination for brothers and sisters in the diaspora. The Year of Return is a movement that encourages people of African descent to visit Ghana and connect with their roots. Many people who participate in the Year of Return visit these forts and castles as a way of learning about and acknowledging the history of the slave trade. The forts and castles serve as a reminder of the brutality and injustice of the slave trade and the resilience of the Ghanaian people. They also serve as a way for people of African descent to connect with their past and learn about their ancestors. While visiting Ghana can be a deeply meaningful and enriching experience for many African Americans and members of the Black diaspora, there are also challenges and criticisms that must be acknowledged. One significant challenge is the cost and accessibility of travel. For some individuals, the cost of traveling to Ghana may be prohibitive, particularly if they are coming from long distances. Additionally, the infrastructure and accessibility of some parts of the country may be an obstacle for some visitors. There have also been criticisms of the Year of Return campaign and its exclusivity. Some have argued that the campaign primarily caters to a privileged few, and that it may exclude those who are unable to afford the cost of travel or who are unable to take the time off to visit. Others have pointed out that the campaign primarily focuses on the experiences of African Americans and members of the Black diaspora, and that it may not adequately represent the diverse experiences and perspectives of other people of African descent. It is also important to acknowledge these challenges and criticisms and to consider ways in which they can be addressed. This may involve finding ways to make travel more accessible and affordable for all, or working to ensure that the campaign is more inclusive and representative of the diverse experiences of people of African descent. In conclusion, Ghana has become a hot spot for African Americans and the Black diaspora due to the country's rich history and the success of the Year of Return campaign. This campaign has attracted a significant number of African Americans and Black diaspora to the country, contributing to the growth of tourism and cultural exchange. Many individuals have reported experiencing a sense of belonging and connection to their roots upon visiting Ghana and have described the experience as life-changing. While there are challenges and criticisms that must be acknowledged, such as the cost and accessibility of travel, the growth in tourism and cultural exchange has had a positive impact on the economy and local communities in Ghana. It is important to continue finding ways to address these challenges and to ensure that the Year of Return campaign is inclusive and representative of the diverse experiences of people of African descent. Overall, Ghana's Year of Return campaign has been a significant initiative that has brought about a sense of cultural exchange and belonging for many African Americans and members of the Black diaspora, and has contributed to the growth of tourism in the country. The potential for cultural exchange and growth through tourism in Ghana is vast, and it is an exciting time for African Americans and the Black diaspora to visit and explore the country. If you've enjoyed this video, watch also the next video on your screen, which looks at Ghana granting citizenship to African Americans and Caribbeans as part of Beyond the Return initiative. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.